everyone, it's Renee with Delaney Jane Cards. Welcome back to my channel. This is April's installment of Inspired By here on my channel. And by now you might know that each month I pick a content creator and that has inspired me, and I create a card based on being inspired. I showed you Courtney's card there, and it was a Christmas card. We're not making a Christmas card. But the reason I picked that video, and I will have it linked below, is she very much talks about how to layer things. And actually I could have probably picked almost any video on her channel. She definitely makes a lot of scenes and talks about, perspective and all sorts of scene building tips and tricks and techniques. She also uses masking a lot. Most of the time when I'm building a scene, it's not a one layer scene, and this had me nervous. I wanted to make one layer scene, and I really wanted to make a full one layer scene. So I used a ton of stamp sets. I showed them all there in the beginning, and there's a ton of them, but you'll see how this all comes together and why I used as many as I did. So the truck was from one stamp set and the road was from another. Now I'm adding grass, and that is from a third stamp set. I wanted a really full scene. If I took a picture of a city, it wouldn't just be one flat little scene. There would be layer upon layer behind it, much like the card that I used for inspiration. She could have just had those kids standing there caroling with an ink blended background, but she layered it. She put the door behind it. She put a window behind it, and she did the side of the house. She did the siding, but beyond that, she layered a Christmas tree inside. So there was a lot of depth to the scene. So I wanted to pull the depth part out and really use it. So here she does a lot of masking. So I was like, well, I got to do the masking. So I put the one road down, and then I was going to line the truck up and stamp it. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I wanted to put this sign on the top. So here I'm using the mask, and I positioned the sign, and then I have now a floating arrow. Masked that off, and now I'm able to position the truck. And because I stamped part of the road, I can see where the truck should be. It definitely helped me with positioning. So I stamped the truck in, and now I'm going to mask that off, and then I'm going to finish the road with the stamp that I've been using here. That's super simple. When you're masking, what you want in the front is what you stamp first. What you want behind everything is what you stamp last. And I will continue to show all of that while I show you this card. I left all of this in. I also left all of the coloring in. And this is a long video, and if you're in it for coloring and scene building, this is your video. So I used two different stamp sets here for the houses. The Scrapberry set and the Rabbit Hole Design set, their images are drawn so similarly that I have been using those houses kind of interchangeably when I make cards. So here, this is going to be my back scene, the cityscape, but I wanted a cloud kind of tucked behind, well, one in front. And that car is seriously just floating there because the road is attached to the cityscape. So here, now I'm going to put that in, and it will kind of bring everything together here. You'll be able to see that the car will be on the road and the cloud will be in front of the one building. I just thought it would add additional dimension to the scene. Now I did mask off this one piece of the city and stamped this. Now I do kind of wish that I would have gotten out one of my bigger stamp platforms. I do have a few, because this stamp layered over the edge of the Misty here, and it's a ledge. So I was really struggling to get this. I was hoping I wasn't going to break it. I knew I would not be able to line that up anyway else. So I needed to make sure that I really pressed hard, and then I was nervous. So then I wanted to fill in the sky. And I pulled the clouds from several other stamp sets that I had here and just mixed and matched the clouds in the sky. I just thought it would add a little more fun and whimsy to the scene. I did turn that one over because it's off the page. So really you wouldn't know how big the top of the cloud is. You just see the bottom, and it changed it up just a little bit so that it looks a little different. So I did slow it down here so you could just watch it. This is my favorite part of her videos, when she takes off the masks and shows what the scene looks like. I mean, there is really nothing better than pulling off these masks and realizing that you did it right. That everything is masked where you need it to be masked. The lines show where you need them to show. It is like one of the best things ever, and I can see why there are a lot of card makers that are very, very big on scenes. It was so fun to pull all of these masks off and see, I have my scene and it's like perfect. I love it. So I, like I said, left in all of the coloring. I did a lot of really simple coloring. I kept the color palette pretty tight. I didn't use a ton of different colors. So as you see the blue combination come up on the screen, that is the blue combination I'm going to use for the entire card. It was B41 and B45. And my coloring isn't all that great in this on this card. It didn't need to be. There was a ton of coloring. I didn't need to make sure everything was shaded and perfect in every little bit of it. What I needed to make sure was the things that were in the front had the most texture and had the best blending and looked the nicest. Things that were in the back could kind of fade off. I didn't need to take my time to really, really make sure that the blending was perfect in the back. And I'm not saying I didn't blend. I could have just left it filled in with one color, but I didn't. I shaded around the things, but I didn't go out of my way to make sure that the shading was absolutely perfect. Now, one thing Courtney will talk about in her channel is light source, and I color for fun. I don't really color by the rules almost ever. I color according to how I think things look good. And I feel like if I was trapped by the rules all the time, I would enjoy coloring less. And I color for my mental health. If you follow me at all, you know that I deal with all sorts of things and have had all sorts of traumas. And this is where I let it all go, right here in the coloring. So the grass here, this is more up front. So I will take more time to make the grass look interesting, I guess. Yeah, interesting is probably, it's not like shaded perfectly, you'll see. But I made it more interesting to the eye, gave it more detail and depth. Kind of why I made it so that there's like hills. It wasn't just like one big hill of grass. You can see that there's like a couple of hills, and I just used that same stamp and kind of positioned it so that it gave me depth and dimension. But I filled it in with the lighter YG25 and then went over it with the YG17, but I kind of scribbled that on. I wanted to add texture to the grass. I didn't want it to be flat, and I didn't want it to be like a perfectly blended gradient. I wanted it to have texture. And then I had to put the grass in that second median back there between the roads where there's a row of houses, like a little neighborhood. I thought that, well, I don't know. I like the way that I set up the scene because you have like the highway, and then you have like the neighborhood, and then you have like the city, and it's all in one little scene. I don't know what city would represent. Maybe like in my area, maybe like Milwaukee, or even Chicago. That's not too far from me, but I guess you could have suburbs and then, you know, the city, and you could look at the skyline. It's kind of what I was thinking, I guess. And I really wanted to build this scene with depth because like I said, Courtney does a lot with depth when she's building her scenes. She doesn't just place everything down. And I haven't really seen too many colorists that are on YouTube that just place everything down. And I will always learn something from somebody that is trying to teach me something. So Courtney is one. There are several colorists that I watch. I am featuring Courtney, so she's the one that I'm going to be talking about. This color combination, this BG combination here, every time you see that, it is this combination or a combination of those three markers. I did not bring in any other BG colors. That is, well, I did in a different combination, but this is that combination. So if you see one of those markers, it was BG 70, or 70, 72, and 75. One of those, just like here. I am not bringing in the darkest. It's just 72 and 70 to color the cab of that truck. The brown combination that I'm using is E77 and E79, and I do apologize. My allergies are terrible right now, so bear with me, please. Like I said, I did very, very simple coloring. I added a little bit of shading, but nothing that's like major. You really probably aren't going to learn too much. I think I tried to trick the viewer when I made this by putting so much in the scene that you would not focus on the shading for the houses or anything in particular. You could not zero in on and say, "Ooh, that shading is not okay." This E97 and E99 combo, I know, right? 2 color combos. I don't really do that too often. Usually it's 4, sometimes it's even more depending on if I'm getting the depth that I want. 3, 4 colors, usually how I color. I just felt like that would have been an awful lot of markers, an awful lot of colors and tones, and to be honest with you, I just did not have the time to sit around and color with 875,000 markers. So this truck here is way in the front. So I'm going to make sure that that the truck is not a he or she, that the truck is blended really well, shaded really well, and that there's a lot of detail. So I'm using my BG 90 and 93, and that is what I'm going to color with. It's a very gray blue-green color. I just thought, well, it makes the truck look white, but it makes it look dirty, and every truck that I have ever seen has been dirty. It travels, it delivers, it backs into docks, it picks up things, it goes down dirt roads, it picks up highway dust. In Wisconsin, we have snow and ice and salt on our roads, and all the trucks are dirty. And right now, with all of the things that are going on, people are not able to go wash their vehicles, and clearly they're not able to wash commercial vehicles as often as they would like. So that is how we got that BG 90 and 93 color combination. And then I needed to color this box truck in the back. I made sure that I added a little bit of shading under the sign that is attached to the box truck, and then just blended that out. Now here on this truck, I was trying to decide what to do with the window, and I thought, well, you would see the grass. I mean, it might be kind of a blur if the truck is really moving, but I do not see a driver. I don't see a driver in the truck, but we're going to pretend that they are driving down the road really slowly so we can see the grass through the windows. I thought that definitely finished the vehicle really well. And then I figured that box truck in the back, you would probably see gray because of the road in the background there. And then for the cityscape, I just used a C2 marker and I filled in the entirety of the buildings, the windows, the buildings, all of it. It's such a light color that I wasn't worried about it getting in the way when I wanted to color in some of the windows, and it just made them not white for my scene. And then now I decided what I was going to color this car, and I decided on the same blue combo I used for the sky. It's far enough away from the sky that I thought the blue would be okay. It wouldn't blend into the sky because of the cityscape in the back. And then I used my BG colors to shade my clouds. That was BG 70, I believe. And then yellows for this sign here, and I haven't brought in any other yellow, so I need to make sure that I use it in other places so that it's not just in one spot. So I filled in the windows on the houses, and then I randomly filled in some of the windows in the cityscape in the back. I figured not all the lights would be on. Maybe some people are at the grocery store or a gas station or a pharmacy or a doctor's office, or maybe they are some of the essential and they are working during the day, or not, they are home during the day to sleep, so they are sleeping. So then I wanted to put my my labels, my signage on the trucks. This is going to be a moving card, by the way, not a Christmas card. And I thought that that all the sentiments worked really well together. The what is the one? The one that's on the truck came in the truck set. The other one is from the Neat and Tangled set. Or no, it's from the Concord at Night set. And then here I took this little sold stamp from the Neat and Tangled, and I'm going to heat emboss that on this house. Like, this house sold, and we are making memories, and you know, that's the moving truck bringing the things to the brand new house. And I put the house in the center of the image because I wanted it to be highlighted. I thought that I think anybody that bought a house, especially recently, if you sent them a card that said, hey, congratulations on your house, they aren't going to care what the setting is. If you put them in the city or in the country or some of both, like we have here, they're going to be very excited to, first of all, have a house, and second of all, to receive a card. So I added a little more shading to these clouds in the background. They did not seem shaded well enough. And you can see that one cloud is kind of closer to us in front of the cityscape. So it just pushes those buildings back even farther than if I just put all the clouds on top of the city or like in the sky. I just thought that it would add a lot more depth and dimension to the entire scene. I don't know, you tell me. Do you think it made a difference? Well, and then I felt like maybe my clouds were a little too colored in, so then I colorless blended them. Then I added some white gel pen details because, well, this scene needed some white gel pen, and Courtney almost always adds white gel pen to her cards, finishes them off really nicely, and I think she enjoys adding details like that. And then I used my glossy accents. I have it in this bottle with a fine tip applicator on it, and I just added glossy accents to the windows that had the lights on. The people that are not sleeping, the ones that are up doing their social distancing inside their homes, watching their TVs, playing on the internet, watching YouTube videos, coloring, teaching their kids, making dinner, doing all of the wonderful family things that we can do while we are all at home. And then I added glossy accents to all of the windows of the vehicles. And I thought that that was a really cool way to add some more detail. Excuse me. And then I did add more glossy accents to all of the windows. Touched up the hubcaps on the box truck with a little yellow to add a little more shine. And honestly, that's my card. That is the card front. I took this card base here and I did stamp the inside with a stamp from that Neat and Tangled set. It says, congrats on your new home. And I thought that was really a cool card design. I just felt like all the layers really, I don't know, you tell me, do you really, do you like it? Do you like my card? Do you like all the layers? Do you think the depth was too much? I really enjoyed making this card, and I was very excited to do a video inspired by Courtney. She has become one of my really good friends, and her coloring and style and just creativity in general is amazing to me. She is super talented, and I would encourage you to check out her channel if you have not. Here are some still shots of my card. I would love to know your opinion on it, and thank you for stopping by. I will link the other inspired by videos below, and as I always say, give cards generously. Bye!